I have compiled my top 13 best life lessons I've acquired since I was a child when my father said things to me. As a teenage model in Manhattan, an actor in Los Angeles, a hit talk show about sex and relationships, and becoming a nationally recognized relationship expert for Good Morning America. I've lived a lot over the past 50-some years. This is a quick video that I tried to succinctly put together these 13 life lessons that I'm sharing with you. Welcome to my Broken to Brave podcast. I'm Donna Barnes. All these little things all work together if you can really incorporate them into your life. Your relationships will be much more loving and happier. So, venting is actually perpetuating. Venting is not an effective way of letting go of your anger. It's actually perpetuating your anger. It's the way your brain processes information. Your brain, every time you tell something, relives it as if it's happening. You do need to process your feelings and you need to let them out. Journaling is the best way to do that. Pick one person you can relay your feelings to and then put it away. Look forward and don't ruminate on it and don't keep telling your story, because every time you tell your story, you relive it. If you just shut up, you can't be engaged in an argument. When I was a kid, I used to fight with my mom a lot, and my father always used to say that to me. If you would just shut up, she can't argue with herself, especially if there's alcohol involved, right? If someone's yelling at you and really berating you and trying to really make you feel bad about yourself, if you just don't respond, initially, it'll make them angry, but ultimately, they'll stop. Be conscientious instead of sorry. My father used to say, are you going to say you're sorry when you kill someone? Some things you just can't undo by saying I'm sorry. By acting recklessly and not really thinking. You should never react. Take the time to be conscientious and respond. Nothing changes if nothing changes. It's the simplest, stupidest saying, but it's my favorite because it's so true. It's just another way of saying the definition of insanity is to keep trying the same thing and expecting a different result. Anything at all, if you think about it, if you want it to go differently, it starts by you changing your approach to it. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. I know we've all heard that, but later in life, I heard a great version of that if someone asks you their opinion about something, and it is something that they can change, then give them an honest opinion so that hopefully they can change it for the better. But if they can't change it, and it's done, something like a haircut or something that is going to take a while to change, don't make them feel bad about it. There's no sense in being brutally honest with somebody to hurt their feelings and make them feel badly about it. Tell them you love it and try to make them feel good about it, especially if they're feeling bad about it. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. My father was famous for saying that, and it's really so true. When you're nice to people, they want to do things for you and to help you and to get along with you. But when you're mean and nasty to somebody, why would they want to help you? They want to run in the other direction. Nobody likes to be yelled at. Nobody likes to be scolded or criticized. Directing your frustration and annoyance with something isn't usually going to get you what you want and get your needs met. So if you can be nice and speak with I statements, you're more likely to get the response that you're hoping for. If you blame, you miss the lesson. No one can make you do anything. Someone say like, oh, well, you made me do this, or he made me do that, or she made me do this, right? No one can make you do anything. You have free will and free choice over everything that you choose to do. So if someone does something that causes you to react in a way that you're now regretting, that's your fault. That's on you because you didn't take those extra couple of beats to think conscientiously before you responded or reacted. You need to take responsibility for your own issues and your own behavior and your actions. Blaming someone is really toxic and can make you feel helpless about something. No one likes to be blamed for things, especially if it's not even their fault, right? Like blamers who constantly have to point out things that someone did wrong. Like, who asked you? Which also leads to is the only person that you can control is yourself. Don't try to manipulate someone into doing things that you want. Be proactive in looking at the things that you can do for yourself that you can change, which will hopefully change the way someone's responding to you. The best way to get someone to get along better with you isn't to complain about their behavior. It's to change the way you're interacting with them. Don't sweat the small stuff, right? Leave things alone. Leave people be. You be the catalyst for change if you're wanting something to change. And you can make behavioral requests. If someone's doing something that's really bothering to you, that's a boundaries thing. You make a request. I would really appreciate it if you could do this instead. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. I'm sure you've heard that before, but the law of attraction is debated, but we really do tend to attract the things that we focus our attention on, we pull it towards us. When you put too much must-have on something, you usually push it away. Be careful about venting is perpetuating. Remember all of that. It all works together. Not putting too much thought and energy into something that you don't want to happen, because frequently you cause that to happen. Being a hater is very toxic to everyone, really, but largely to yourself. All that negative, toxic energy of directing it at someone and being mean to someone or any kind of unkind behavior isn't good for you. Energy is contagious. Keeping that in mind, try to get your partner to catch your energy if they're frustrated or angry or you clearly see that something's going on, right? Like being passive aggressive and being calm. Especially, there's nothing more frustrating if you're angry to come up against somebody who's just really calm and who's really just not willing to engage with you, right? It goes back to that if you just shut up, right? You teach people how to treat you, whether you're aware of it or not. I'm also famous for saying this, right? Because boundaries is such a huge part of how to have an effective relationship. If someone does something and you didn't like it, but you didn't tell them that you didn't like it, you actually just told them that it's okay with you and that they can continue to do that because they didn't know that you didn't like it. And that's really the basis of it. You teach people how to treat you in the fact that when they do something that you don't like, you calmly with I statements express that you don't like it so that they know, and then you won't tolerate that kind of behavior. Equally, if someone does something that you do like, reinforce that. Acknowledgement is such a wonderful thing in a relationship. When someone does something that you like, let them know that you really like it. It'll give them inspiration to want to do it again and hopefully to keep making you happy. Life is what happens while you're making other plans. What I mean by that is we all have the best of intentions and we all have our ideas and goals and things that we are trying to achieve and that we want to happen. But doesn't always work out the way that we want it to, right? Sometimes something else happens along the way, but sometimes that's a good thing, depending on what you believe. But I've always liked the expression, God doesn't always give us what we want, but he gives us what we need. There is no real destiny, right? People talk about, we're destined to this and we're destined to that. We create our destiny. We're on our own paths and we have free will and we can make or break every aspect of our life. Be flexible. Sometimes things that throw us a curveball end up being the best thing that happened to us. And things that we didn't think that we wanted, we end up being really happy that we had. When life throws you a curveball, try to embrace it and attack it proactively. You are what you think you are. It does all come down to our thoughts. And our self-esteem is largely based on our internal dialogue and what we say to ourselves. And just our ability to do things, right? I think it was Henry Ford who very famously said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It all starts with your internal dialogue and what you say to yourself. And when you look in the mirror, what you say to yourself. Most of us say such mean things to ourselves that we would never say to our partner or our best friend or somebody that we really love. So why do you say it to yourself? Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, and if there's something about yourself, it goes back to if you can change it, how about it? Change it. But if you can't, really find a way to embrace it and love yourself and be good to yourself and be really kind to yourself with the things that you think. The more conscientious you can be about the choices that you make in your relationship, it's all about how you behave and the choices that you make and taking responsibility for your own stuff and issues and behavior. Then if your partner is willing to engage in the same type of conscientious behavior, the happier both you and your partner will be, and the more likely you are to stay together. So thanks for watching. If you're interested in knowing more or talking to me, I do offer personal coaching to help you create the most loving and happy relationship that you possibly can.